Well, today's Friday. Thank you for being with me today, and I hope that you've been with me all week. We've had a good time talking to you about our subject of coming to Christ and Christ giving us a newness of life. And we've been talking this week about why people refuse to come to Jesus, why they refuse to come to the Christ and receive the newness of life. But today we want to look at another thought here that I think will help us and encourage us to keep on witnessing for Jesus Christ, that no matter what the excuse is, that if they will come to Christ, if they will surrender to Christ, He will give them a new life. Now today in Matthew chapter 2, one more time, in studying the life of Herod, the man that refuses to come to Christ, and the excuses he has, I want us to look at verse 16. It said, "Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coast thereof, for 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men." What is Herod's problem today? Why is it that after all these opportunities, he still refuses to come to Christ and receive the newness of life? Well, we find out. Herod is a man of anger. He's a man of anger. He becomes angry, and sometimes anger in people's hearts will keep them from coming to Christ, the very one that can relieve them of that anger. Now notice what happens to him. In his anger, he becomes vindictive. He becomes vindictive. And oh, that is a horrible thing, a horrible way for people to live in this world, to be angry and to be vindictive. And sometimes we meet up with those people, but don't give up. We continue to invite them to come to Christ because we know that no matter what made them angry, no matter what vindictiveness they might be guilty of, if they'll come to Christ, if they come to Jesus, He'll give them a new life. But there's something else I want you to see here in verse 19. "And when Herod was dead," what happened to Herod? He was angry, he was vindictive, and eventually that anger and that vindictiveness destroyed him. He died. What am I saying to you today? Well, the Bible says it this way: anger, but sin not. What is it saying? Sometimes we do become angry. You as a Christian become angry. I become angry at times. But I must never let anger become the motivation of my action. For when I allow anger to become the motivation, I begin to function in vindictiveness. And when I'm a vindictive person, it will certainly lead to death. Not only my death, but perhaps the death of others. Don't let anger become your motivation. And if you know someone who allows anger to cause them to be vindictive, and they will certainly bring about death to them, oh, they're the perfect candidate for you to prayerfully witness to and say, listen, if you'll come to Christ, He'll give you a newness of life. He'll let you start all over again. And you don't have to be angry. You don't have to be vindictive. You don't have to be a victim of death, but you can live and live a life of abundance. God bless you. I've enjoyed this week. You have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.